Benton, what you did for me. You changed my life, truly.
Sally Field has spent decades capturing our hearts in iconic roles, from Norma Ray to Forrest Gump. But behind the scenes, she's lived a life full of unexpected twists and quirky moments. Whether it's her surprising fears, her bold career choices, or her hidden hobbies, Sally Field's life is anything but ordinary. In this video, we're uncovering 10 weird and little-known facts about Sally that you won't find in any traditional biography. 10. Sally Field's fear of flying leads her to drive long distances. For someone who's spent much of her career flying across the world to film movies and attend award shows, Sally Field has a surprising fear: flying. Despite her fame and frequent travel, Sally has struggled with a significant fear of airplanes. Rather than board a plane, she's been known to drive long distances, sometimes up to 12 hours, just to avoid flying. Imagine this: Sally Field, a movie star with an endless schedule, hopping in her car and driving across the country just to avoid a flight. It's a bit shocking, right? But this phobia of flying is one of the lesser-known aspects of her personal life. Even with all the convenience of air travel, Sally has opted for the scenic route, all because of her fear of being in the sky. 9. Sally Field's first big role was as Gidget, despite fearing the ocean and not knowing how to surf. Before she was known for her serious roles in Norma Ray or Places in the Heart, Sally Field first hit the big screen as Gidget, the lovable teenage surfer girl. But here's the twist: Sally couldn't surf, and she was actually terrified of the ocean. When she was cast as Gidget in the popular TV series of the same name, Sally had zero experience with surfing. In fact, she had a genuine fear of the ocean. To prepare for the role, she had to undergo extensive training just to look convincing in the surf scenes. The idea of playing such an outdoorsy, adventurous character was at odds with her natural inclination to avoid the water. But Sally's determination to do her job right paid off, and she became a beloved icon of 1960s television, even if she was more comfortable on dry land. 8. Sally Field hated the Flying Nun headpiece, which gave her years of neck pain. Sally's role as Sister Bertrille in The Flying Nun was a breakthrough for her in television, but it wasn't without its challenges. The show's premise, about a nun with the ability to fly due to her wimple, required Sally to wear a very heavy headpiece. The wimple, which was supposed to create the illusion of flight, was often a struggle for Sally, causing neck pain and discomfort. She later admitted that the headpiece gave her neck aches for years, and as iconic as the show was, the costume wasn't exactly the most comfortable. Sally had to wear it for long hours, sometimes shooting multiple episodes in one day. The experience became a source of frustration for her, but she pushed through, knowing how important the role was for her career. 7. Told she wasn't pretty enough for movies, Sally Field used it to fuel her drive to succeed. Sally Field faced her fair share of criticism early in her career, with one of the harshest critiques coming from Hollywood insiders who told her she wasn't pretty enough for movies. These comments could have easily shattered anyone's confidence, but not Sally Field. Instead of letting those hurtful words define her, she used them as fuel to succeed. She became even more determined to prove everyone wrong. Sally once reflected that this early criticism helped her build resilience, and she used her talent and hard work to make her mark in the industry. Her performances in films like Norma Ray and Forrest Gump showed that beauty wasn't the key to success. Raw talent, authenticity, and perseverance were. 6. Sally Field once crashed a Hollywood party in disguise to meet Marlon Brando, who danced with her all night. One of the most bizarre stories about Sally Field involves a Hollywood party she crashed in the 1970s. Disguised in a wig and sunglasses, she snuck into the event just so she could meet Marlon Brando, one of her idols. To her surprise, Brando noticed her, and the two ended up dancing together all night long. It's a story that speaks to Sally's adventurous and fearless personality. She was determined to meet the actor, and her boldness led to one of the most unforgettable nights of her life. Brando and Field had a blast, and the experience became one of the more fun, oddball moments in her career. It's a reminder that even the biggest stars have moments of spontaneity and boldness that make their lives even more interesting. 5. Before becoming a full-time actress, Sally Field worked as a carnival barker. Before she was an award-winning actress, Sally Field took on a variety of odd jobs to make ends meet. One of her most unusual gigs was working as a carnival barker. Yes, you read that right. Sally Field once worked at a carnival, calling out to passers-by and encouraging them to visit the carnival booths. This job was a far cry from the glamorous Hollywood sets she would later work on, but it gave Sally a unique set of skills. The job helped her hone her ability to interact with people and keep an audience engaged, skills that would prove to be useful in her acting career. It also provided her with a solid work ethic and an understanding of what it meant to hustle for a living. It's a testament to her resilience and determination that she kept pushing forward, even when faced with difficult jobs early on. 4. Sally Field. Turned down. The shining role of Alice to avoid playing a passive character. One of the most iconic horror films in history, The Shining, was nearly graced with Sally Field in the role of Alice, the wife who slowly unravels as her husband becomes increasingly unstable. However, Field turned the role down, citing that she didn't want to portray a passive character. At the time, Field felt that the role of Alice would trap her in a portrayal of vulnerability and victimhood. She was determined to choose roles that showcased her strength and complexity as a character. While The Shining became a classic and Jack Nicholson's performance is unforgettable, Sally Field's decision to turn down the role was a reflection of her commitment to playing women with depth, power, and agency. 3. Sally Field wore her Norma Ray t-shirt for months after filming because it made her feel powerful. One of Sally Field's most iconic roles was in Norma Ray, a film about a woman who fights for workers' rights. After filming wrapped, Sally held onto a piece of the character's wardrobe, a t-shirt emblazoned with Norma Ray on it. She admitted that she wore the shirt for months after the film wrapped because it made her feel powerful. The t-shirt became a symbol of her connection to the role and the message of the film. Norma Ray wasn't just a character for Sally. She was a reminder of her own inner strength. In many ways, it was the film that transformed her into a more powerful actress, allowing her to step into roles that represented the struggles of real people and empowered her to bring that authenticity to her work. 2. Sally Field described her long romance with Bert Reynolds as both loving and toxic. Sally Field's relationship with actor Bert Reynolds is one of Hollywood's most complicated and widely discussed romances. The two were romantically involved for several years in the late 1970s and early 1980s, during which they were an incredibly high-profile couple. But behind the glitz and glamour, their relationship was tumultuous and, at times, toxic. Sally Field later described the relationship as both loving and painful, admitting that while she had deep affection for Bert, the dynamics of their partnership were far from healthy. Their time together was marked by intense highs and lows, and though they genuinely cared for one another, their relationship was marred by jealousy, insecurities, and emotional baggage. Despite their breakup, Field and Reynolds remained in each other's lives, with Field later acknowledging how much she learned from the experience. Their relationship is a reminder that even in the most glamorous of Hollywood romances, things are rarely as perfect as they seem from the outside. 1. Sally is an avid baker and often brings homemade desserts to film sets for cast and crew. When you think of Hollywood stars, you probably don't think of baking, but Sally Field has a deep love for baking and often brings homemade desserts to film sets to share with the cast and crew. Whether it's cookies, cakes, or pies, Sally's sweet treats have earned her the reputation of being the baker on set. Sally's love of baking is something she's cherished throughout her life. It's a way for her to unwind and show appreciation for the people she works with. It's also a reminder that, despite her high-profile career, Sally remains grounded and connected to the simple joys of life. Her ability to connect with people through food is just another layer to her warm, down-to-earth personality. Want to discover more surprising facts about other Hollywood legends? Don't forget to check out the next video popping up on your screen.